Hello FRC, I'm Miss Jen Piasecki and I'd like to recommend the book Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis. It's a book set in the 1960s. It's about a female chemist and it's a fictional story, but it really hits home to some of the issues that women faced as they move up in science. So I'm going to read a little portion of the book to you. It's a little bit in, not that far into the book, and I'll try not to have any spoilers here, but Elizabeth Zott held grudges too, except her grudges were mainly reserved for a patriarchal society founded on the idea that women were less capable, less intelligent, less inventive, a society that believed men went to work and did important things, discovered planets, developed products, created laws, and women stayed at home and raised children. She didn't want children. She knew this about herself, but she also knew that plenty of other women did want children and a career. And what was wrong with that? Nothing. It was exactly what men got. That's a short little bit from the book. It's really a fast read, but I highly recommend it.
FRC, it's Miss Cluett here. So for my book, I have here Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Booley, who I fell in love with this book. It was one of the first books that I ever listened to as an audiobook, and it got me hooked on audiobooks. So I can't wait to share a little bit about it with you. So I've just got a few notes here that I just want to read, and then I'm going to read a small part of the book for you. So Firekeeper's Daughter is a young adult thriller. And it definitely is a thriller, and it's got aspect of romance, mystery, murder. There's so much going on. It's even got sports in it. But what really caught my eye as an Indigenous teacher ally at FRC is the fact that it does have a lot in it about Indigenous culture, especially Ojibwe culture or Anishinaabe culture in Michigan. So after witnessing a murder and becoming entangled in a complex web of drug trafficking and betrayal, Donis Fontaine is recruited by the FBI to go undercover and investigate the connection between her community and a dangerous new drug called crystal. And it's through her navigating of her culture, her family, her own identity, the relationships she has with others, that she starts to see the web of things developing. And it's hard for her. She has to deal with a lot of themes like grief and loyalty and her own identity as being a young Indigenous woman in a world that was hard on her. I feel that this is a really great book for any of you to read because of the cultural awareness that it brings. The themes, I think no matter if you are Indigenous or not, I think everyone has themes that they can relate to in this book. And it is very empowering. Donis is such a strong female character, and it brought a lot of joy for me to read. This book does bring in a lot of social issues. It does have things such as drug abuse, systemic injustice, the impact of colonialism, but it does also have violence in it, both physical and sexual, which I want that to be a warning for anyone who does read this book, that it can be triggering, but if you are able to get through it, it is an amazing read. I found this book to be so engaging, and the plot just kept me going the entire time. So I did listen to it the first time that I read this book, but I've read it a few times since, and every time it just gets better and better as I keep learning more about this book. So I have a page that I'm going to be reading from you from chapter 50, and I really hope you enjoy it. So this is page 439. I have one instant, like when the puck drops, where all is calm and quiet. Enough for one deep breath in and a long, slow release. Then, time catches up and sprints ahead. Levi swears again at Minnie. I grab the door handle and I'm outside the truck before he finished his sentence. I'm in the back seat of Sini's car an instant later. She puts the car in reverse, backs up, and jolts forward at an angle. Metal scrapes against metal as Sini's blocks Levi from following my exit route. Minnie hasn't budged. Levi's truck is too close to the back drawbridge to make any turns. There's nowhere else for him to go except to his left. My view is blocked by his truck. I grab his flip phone from the drink holder and call Ron's cell. He answers. Jamie's on Sugar Island. I I shout. In a trailer hidden in between the East Shore cave rocks, about 100 feet south of a cave-like opening with creek along one side. Mike Edwards is going to hurt him. I unlock the right door, leave the car, and sidestep behind the truck to reach its other side. Jonesy Quaden's Lincoln Town Car, the one he calls his pony, cursing a blue streak from his Navy days, Jonesy sits inside with both feet braced against the open door on his passenger side. He has created a nearly perpendicular blockade to keep Levi from escaping. The wind snatches the ball cap from my head. Hair whipping across my face, I rush along the ferry rail until I'm ahead of Minnie's red Mustang. She hasn't moved. Somehow, these three elders coordinated a rescue. Minnie rolls down her window and shouts, "Get in, my girl! Ambe!" I do as my elder tells me and watch Levi's movements from the safety of Minnie's car. He tries rolling the passenger window down to crawl out. Something must not be working because Levi thrashes around like a toddler having a tantrum. Sini follows my brother's lead, exiting from the passenger side. She runs to the front of the ferry. Instead of continuing down the ramp, she turns to face us on the deck. She points to Levi with one hand while holding an invisible feather to Creator with another. Sini trills a high-pitched call. Lee, Lee, Lee. Minnie joins in, laying on her horn. Jonesy adds his horn as well. At last, Levi gets the window down and rolls over Sini's car. He runs past Minnie's car, continuing forward to the ferry ramp. He speaks into the flip phone he had earlier. Sini continues to point and trill at the figure running directly toward her. I'm out of Minnie's car in an instant. I realize Levi's not swerving to avoid Sini. He needs to create a diversion to get away. Levi plows into her. He continues down the ramp and across the parking lot. I rush to Sini, who is flat on her back, and her arm is still raised overhead. The wind knocked out of her. A pause before she inhales a raspy gulp of air. What comes out of her makes my heart soar. She continues her trill. I know what that means. We faced our worst fear, and we are still here. It is our survival song. So I hope you pick me for this winner, and I really hope that you do decide to read this book because it is absolutely amazing. Thank you.